Development Lake.
Well, when I believe, I think the same way you think about, what God's going to do. God was just showing the specifics. He just basically, said it's going to be the 70s again. He showed me people that were hurting. He literally showed me this one lady that literally had lividity setting in. There was just death on her. And he showed me that people just coming and us not being prepared for it. So we began to talk about this so we can, learn to be prepared in somewhat way, for what God is going to be doing.
And that don't mean buy a bunch of books together and pamphlets. Don't mean that.
No.
You put it with your hands. Everything they need, you can give them with your hands.
Well, that's what you find out. What God was doing then, the people who had the books and the committees didn't want them to come into their churches. And so God was, moving outside like he did with Jesus. They wouldn't let him come in the buildings. And he was moving in the streets and he was moving in houses and moving, all over the place.
Yeah.
Pastor Kilpatrick talks about that he don't believe it's going to fit in the building, that it's going to be in the streets. It's going to be all over the place.
Right.
Well, you've seen something like that, right? You pretty much seen the move of God happening.
Oh, yeah. We've actually had one of the first places we moved to out of the house was into an old TV shop. And it was right next, it was in the same building with a Tom Thumb. Mm-hmm. And so we're over there, got all our music going over here. And all of a sudden, I saw this guy out front because I was where I could see out the window. And there's a guy out there had something in his hand. And he got to listening and looking at the window and came over and opened the front door. And he just stepped just inside and he had a 6-pack of beer. And he sat it down and he sat on that beer while we were worshiping. And when it was all over, I'm thinking the whole time he's sitting there, I'm thinking God just drew him in here. Mm. And through the years, I can tell you, we've seen people drive by and think they were at a different church and wind up in our church and wind up staying there.
Wow.
We've got one of our members now that's really, she's just always there when church is there.
Right.
Wanted to get in a home group, and another church in town told her where their home group was. And Pastor Tyler lives in one house. Gino lives next door to him, and this guy lives next door.
Okay.
Gino. And she stopped at the wrong house. She stopped over here where Gino and them are having him and Tyler are having their home group.
Mm-hmm.
Came in, she said, I don't recognize anybody.
Right.
And so, Gino, he said, God sent you here. That's why you're here.
Right.
You're supposed to be there. And when it was over, she said, you were right. He sent me here, and this is where I'm going to stay. So you just never know. He can just direct.
Thank you for watching the Greg Lancaster Show. Don't forget to follow us, like us, and subscribe. Go to our YouTube channels, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, Parler, Spotify, iTunes. Download our app, even on Getter. Go to the Apple Store and rate us. When you rate us, more people will get the broadcast. That's how this whole logarithm thing works. And thank you for watching the Greg Lancaster Show.